down 16%. So that's it. The account is, a very heavily short QBTS account. So that is where we're at. Yeah, trade desk coming back after kind of having a rough existence or a rough quarter last quarter. Well, options will blow you up faster. No, we got more convinced. That's why QBTS was so funny. It's like so much worse than we thought. But you can't really fight the market too much. Yeah, I don't think they have any paths to profitability. Their bookings are zero. Yeah, I'd probably lighten up a little bit at 50, but I do think Sarepta will double. I'm short QBTS right now. It's great. Great short. Being wrong and being early are the same thing. No, not really, actually. Being wrong is when you short a stock and you shorted NVIDIA and you said, oh, they're never going to be an AI company. They're never going to be a big AI company. And you shorted NVIDIA and it goes up 50x. That's called being wrong. But if you bought NVIDIA and you're saying, I think they're going to be an AI company, and it took you 6 months longer than you thought it would, that's called being early. And one is a whole lot better than the other. I don't know. Did you wake up and just start thinking that, or did you think about that a little harder? Yeah, I really felt like this was one time where you could break the rule. But I'm glad I'm not down 50% or something. Jeremy, it's a stock. Technically, it can go to $1 million a share, and you can scare yourself into thinking anything. Yeah, I don't think it's going anywhere, but we'll see. I thought that 20% ago too. Shout out to my lovely wifey, opening the purse up more and more. Thank you, baby. I knew I could depend on you. A lot of people are short TMDX. Yes, Mech. Yes, they closed half of it, but now they're giving me the margin to short it. It doesn't make any sense. These guys. They call my representatives. What do they say? Life imitates art, or art imitates life. Okay, Open Doors traded the most, but it's a dollar stock. We should filter out these small stocks, but we do filter out 500 million market cap. Tesla's traded 24 million shares. D-Wave, our buddy. Normal, makes sense. This is one of the most important companies in the global economy. Has traded 23 million shares. Iovance, 22 million shares. Poor biotech. Trade desk up 24%. Nice quarter after a disaster quarter the quarter before. And Pinterest up 10% on 13 million shares. Hims and hers down 3%, kind of continuing a little bit of a slide that started yesterday. 13 million shares. Rigetti down very slightly. I think they're presenting at the Needham conference, but I'm not sure. I think D-Wave as well, maybe. Soundhound down 80 bips, 90 bips. This is the weird AI roll-up kind of short. Good short. Is this what I think it is? Yes. GoGo is literally GoGo Internet Air Connectivity. So good quarter from GoGo. GoGo In-Flight Wireless. Enlight Inc., ticker is Laser, up 28%. Green dot is the color dot the sniper rifle from Jamie Dimon's going to take me out with. Lyft is up 18%. Rumble is up 17%. Transmedics, the controversial company, up 17%. A lot of longs and shorts battling it out in this one. Regencell, the crazy Chinese kind of scam, is trading on very thin volume because all the shares are owned by one person, I think. Organogenesis, is another interesting company, down 26%. The RealReal, ZipRecruiter, Innodata. Yeah, that's about it. I think Affirm being down 8% is kind of interesting. That's a stock a lot of people are looking at. There's Sarepta coming back a little bit. New FDA guys were giving a interview, and Vinay, I guess somebody talked to him. Somebody found him in an alleyway and said, listen, buddy, next time somebody says rare disease is Sarepta, you're going to be bullish. You understand me? He's like, okay. So poor Vinay had an interview and, said, you got to be flexible when it comes to rare diseases. That is what he did. He said, we need to be flexible when it comes to rare diseases. And Sarepta is a rare disease company. So, somebody had to talk to him. Somebody had to make it clear. Rare diseases, dying children, you need to be flexible. You can't be a pig. You can't say p-values are, have to be really, really tight. You can't You know, you gotta be flexible. These are people's lives. You know, this isn't normal medicine. It's the same Vinay. It's the same person. I like to think. I mean, trust your doctor, but I'm not sure Neurontin is the first drug I'd choose. Insomnia can be hard to sleep, but benzos are, you know, first line. These might have been already known. I think these results were already known. They're pretty good. But I thought these might have been already known. No, Neurontin is not a benzo. I am the farmer bro. I said benzos are first line. You are not getting a benzo. You're getting Neurontin, which is an unusual choice. You know, bag holders already got bagged in D-Wave. Hypnotic drug tier list. It's a great question, actually. Like, I think the orexin drugs are worth trying if you haven't tried the orexins. I don't have trouble sleeping myself, so everything I know is unpublished literature. Obviously, you know, Lunesta and Ambien, Zopiclone, and Zolpidem. I forgot how to pronounce Ambien's name, but those are your classics. You can take, Seroquel will knock you out too. I'm still short QBTS. You don't say short on. You can't be short on something. That doesn't make sense. You're either short something or you're long something. Best peptides to take? I would say Ozempic. Depends on the disease you have, I guess. D-Wave is my biggest position. Hims is just a trade. Hims is not a marry the D-Wave. I'll go down. I'll die on that hill. There's just a way that people say things in finance, and if you don't say it that way, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Bro, if D-Wave sold another computer, the stock would go to 20. Every 4 or 5 years, they can find one sucker to buy one computer. I don't know, Tufu. I don't know. It's as I've said for a while. I mean, it's a weird market. You know, you've also gotten Forkcoin is up a bunch. Forkcoin is at $1.34, which is the highest it's been in a while. That's a pretty good barometer for market insanity. I go to Best Buy. I want to buy a new computer. I choose D-Wave. $15 million quantum annealer. Yeah, I mean, the normal solution is just to have a balanced portfolio. You know, I'd be down 2% or something if that was the case. You know, I like making sales at super overvalued prices. D-Wave has commercials. The best thing a quantum computer, if it could ever be made, and if it ever is made, that is useful, the best it could do is something like decryption. Probably do that pretty well. The problem with D-Wave is not the TTM sales, which include the computer, but the FTM sales, the forward 12 months, are going to be like 8 million. So that's 400, 500 times sales. I haven't quit. I didn't appreciate Schwab taking my buying power away, but the decryption use case is somewhat dead. But there's still other harvested encrypted materials that could be decrypted. There's RSA. Heisenberg is a quantum effect, I would say. Corey is complicated, man. Yeah, I could survive the $5,000 hit. What I really dislike is this, like, oh, you're short, huh? Oh, let's raise the marginal requirement. It's like, stop it. Nothing's changed in my position. Yeah, Marshall Wace is pretty great hedge fund. So UnitedHealthcare, deeply depressed stock price here. Was a $530 billion company. Now just a $350 billion company. So press the backtick key on your keyboard to activate this terminal. We've got to make this terminal bigger. What do you guys think? I think it shouldn't be so skinny. It's Triple H. EM for earnings matrix. I don't know why it says earnings metrics. It's earnings matrix. These guys. This is what happens when you use Indian offshore guys. You know, we put the whole company on Fiverr. You got about 3 Fiverr guys doing everything. Spending about $60 a day. Yeah, Luke, I think so. Definitely Lawson. Definitely. I think we got to up our Fiverr spend to $80. Maybe get Upwork. How about like a higher end? Is there a higher end Indian offshore outsourcer? Earnings metrics. There you go. Thank you, Quan. IRNINGS. Okay, so we were talking about that last night, Charlie. Classic Bloomberg mode. We definitely thought about that. Every component theoretically could work. Just a quick look. You know, it looks like UNH is in the 10 times earnings category. Let's sort of see. FDA reducing drug prices. Oh no, didn't know the FDA set drug prices in the first place. They sent me to prison. They said, all right, drug guys, surely you lower prices. Didn't work. They sent Luigi in. You don't want to know what's coming next. This stock hit 12. I don't even know this. In March, we shorted it, dropped 50%. This stock hit 11. In December, we shorted it, it dropped 70%. So this is just another great chance to short it. It's just a question of, can you survive it? Pfizer spent a lot of money on a lot of deals they overpaid for. D-Wave's a good short at 2. 12, you just have to have the patience. You know, you gotta have the patience of the capital. And you can't let the price and the P&L your head too much. Everyone on Wall Street hates quantum. There's no quantum fans on Wall Street to be found. I'd say it's a combination of retail and quantitative investors. Google does not only dabble in quantum, they're the leader in quantum, but they don't have any public access available to their products. They don't sell their products to anybody else. Most of my shorts are unhedged. Most shorts on Wall Street are unhedged. So I got this little account. I want to show people how to make accounts go up. Right now I'm showing people how to make accounts go down. But next week's a different week. I'll raise a $500 million fund just to short D-Wave, just to short 20% of the company. I'll go up to Greenwich, Connecticut, see all my old friends. Losses are real if you realized. I'm kidding. Losses in my account are real too. But, you know, if you want market irrationality, then you complain when you get too much of it. I didn't want that much irrationality. I wanted the perfect amount of rationality just for me. We've looked at IonQ's acquisitions. I also heard the space satellite company they bought was a really terrible. I think on Berkshire, you know, the collection of businesses they have isn't it's like very steady. That's the Buffett discount rate hypothesis. But these are not cash flows the market loves. It was not wildly overvalued. Stop. That's nonsense. Berkshire is always undervalued. Sarepta's still coming back, buddy. Sarepta kind of is the crash out version of biotech company. I think that's right. Okay, here are the individuals, which in the industry they're called lives. Yeah, 𝐤𝐤 still bullish. And this is really important. These are really important numbers. Here's commercial risk-based. So you can see most of their customers are not actual insurance, they're fee for service. So you got about 29 or call it 30 million people. Then they have Medicare Advantage, Medicaid, which they've lost share in, I guess. I don't know if that's maybe a good thing. I have no clue. Didn't Trump say there was going to be some huge announcement? I don't know. I just remember 𝗏𝗏 from the GSK days. Not saying he's a bad CEO, just... And then finally, part D. D360. So it looks like they got out of rest of world. So it's just a US company. So like, you know, you're talking about, there's only so many people in the US, right? Yeah, so I'd stay away from UNH. It was just extremely overvalued before. It's only overvalued now. Capper's coming very, very soon. It's going to go to $1 or something. What's up? Anavex. I mean, once it wants to clear that drug doesn't do anything, the stock will go to 1 or less. Yeah, it's supposed to be the Trump drug pricing thing, right? He's going to hammer pharma companies. That's why a lot of the drug stocks, I think, are going to... Media's had this, like, subconscious hate for capitalism, for American success for a long time. They hate themselves more than anything else. And, like, there's been a rejection of this pretty clearly with the vote, with even commercials and the way men and women are treating each other. There's a bit of a desire for like that alpha male, you know. It doesn't mean that you can't be sensitive, or it doesn't mean you can't be educated or worldly, but it also means that, you know, there's just certain things that, you know, certain ways you look at the world, and, you know, you won't necessarily compromise on them, or, you know, you're not willing to do certain things either. So I think that there is like there was a drift. Can you short it, 𝐤𝐤? I mean, everybody thinks it's a zero, but I think it's just one of these just like super, not quoting Kaczynski, not an anti-technologist. What I'm saying is that the media promulgated this philosophy, this new sort of progressive philosophy that was taken to an extreme. And there was a rejection of that extremist progressive philosophy. There's nothing wrong with progressivism. When you've got people talking about some of the things that were talked about, you know, it got to a point where people were the masses started to say, I'm not comfortable with this, I'm rebelling from this. Again, I think there's a fine line between, indoctrination and flexibility. Yeah, so if you look at free cash flow for UNH, it hasn't changed since 2021. No, nonsense, because the premiums, the rates just go back down. Because the MLR can only be so high. It's a very weird business. MLR is like basically the reverse gross margin. And so it's interesting, the MLR has gone up. So you get a one-time benefit, but then next year you renegotiate your deal and the premiums drop a lot. And drugs are only so much a medical spend anyway. Okay, MFN is a little bit different. MFN is good for drug companies, but it's also kind of good for... MFN is kind of just makes sense. Most favored nations, a good policy, depending on how it's implemented. It may raise prices. I agree with Tofu there. That's one of my main things I've been saying for years. So yeah, free cash flow of UnitedHealthcare has been like, I don't know if you see this chat. I should put this right here. These cells here I'm highlighting. 20 billion, 20 billion, 23, 26, back to 21. What do you pay for 20 billion in consistent cash flow? 22, evidently. Well, most people would say 10 times. 8 times, Eric. I mean, don't forget, while these cash flows have been steady, there's nothing steady about the American healthcare system. And there is no United Healthcare of Europe, my friend. So you're basically sitting on a ticking time bomb of cash flows. That's why 8x makes more sense. How long will it take for the healthcare system to collapse? No, personally, I don't think it's ever going to collapse. But you're not exactly buying a railroad. Railroad's been around hundreds of years. Take it or leave it. You got until next year. These stocks used to be 6 times earnings a long time ago. And all it takes is there to be a revaluation based on just how people view these kinds of stocks as growth stocks, as shrinking stocks, or, and that's why United Healthcare is diversified a bit. They do PBMs, they have a product division, but ultimately still a whole lot of, no, I think I don't think it's a short, but I'd say it's not a long. I think people like to stunt quite a bit on ARK as kind of like the deep baggies, but I don't know, I like ARK. I have a soft spot. Hard to say. What do you think cash flow will be this year? I'm not saying they're the best fund or the highest performance, but D-Wave's up a lot too. Maybe not exactly that much, but still a lot. I still think Sezzle had like good results or something, right? D-Wave had the same results. Yeah, D-Wave, you can't say you're profitable when your bookings are 0. That's a little hard to do. Their number of customers dropped. Is that normal for a company that's about to turn profitable and losing lots of money? Usually your number of customers is going up, your revenue's going up. You guys act like I just fell off the turnip truck. It could be a lose-lose, depends on how it's implemented. Pharma's not stupid. They're going to raise prices on Europe. Europe doesn't want drugs, that's fine. Yeah, I don't see any rush to get into UNH. Maybe Humana's better. I don't know.
I'm on a job site right now. I'm a construction worker. But, like many people after the pandemic area, I got into stock market on the mobile apps. And lifetime, I'm down over 100,000. But, yeah, so I've had to take that on the chin and start studying. So basically the most intriguing development so far is I started using some of these large language models to help me come up with a loosely automated
well, let me ask you this
valuation tool.
Let me ask you this real quick. Why do you want to invest?
Well, I guess, it's game-like.
Okay. There's a lot of games you could play. You could play Call of Duty. You can play League of Legends. You can play chess. Why this? What makes you think you can play this game well? Because, for example, I used to play basketball in high school. I was not so bad, if you say so myself. I had the nice white boy jump shot. Of course, the problem was I couldn't play in the NBA because it wasn't that good. And, if somebody said, Shkreli, you should play in the NBA, I'd say, hey, man, listen, I love ball, but I just can't do that. But when you play in the stock market, you are trading against guys like me Steve Cohen, quantitative bots. Like, it seems really, really tough to do. You know what I mean?
Right. And so I do realize that at face value, it sounds just like a complete disaster, which it has been, but so some slight background, basically going back to your question of why am I interested in it is I'm not a college graduate, but I do have approximately like 100 college credit hours. I chose to study a wide variety of topics. I could never narrow down to what I did want to choose, but the only classes I ever achieved 4.0 in were the business courses, the accounting courses, and that was an identified passion for me. Mm-hmm. Now, the direction of life, coming from a very humble background, I just needed to start generating small contracting business somewhat successfully as well.
Yeah, listen, I mean, that's cool, but I guess the point comes in, enjoying it. I don't know if that makes you good at it. And to me, like, I worked on Wall Street for a long time. It was just one of these things where, working on Wall Street, you see how the sausage is made. It's such a tough thing to beat the market or try to, outperform. So I guess, from my perspective, like, there's a little bit of, well, I guess one question I have for you is, do you have the time to invest full time given your work? How many hours realistically can you put into the market?
Along those lines too. So I'm a seasonal worker, so I'm a contractor during the warmer months. So during the off season, that's why I spent probably close to, I would say 60 hours a week, researching and starting to develop this tool I have.
I think that's great. I think 60 hours a week is enough. You don't have to be a super genius to do well in the market. You do have to have discipline. You do have to have a little capital. So, I'm with you. And whatever way I can help, I'm happy to.
Right.
Hello, Hater. Are you there?
Yeah.
Hater, what's going on?
Yeah, I'm wondering why, I feel like that's not your main account. If that's an account that you're buying QBTS with, IonQ.
Okay, I can't hear you too great. Did you say buying?
Yeah.
I'm not buying these stocks. Do you think I'm buying them?
Or pudding.
Pudding? My brother in Christ, how old are you?
I'm 19.
Yeah. You going to college, dogs?
What?
You going to go to college, dog?
I can't hear you.
Are you going to go to college?
I'm already in it.
Okay. What are you studying?
Cybersecurity.
Got it. Okay. Well, good luck with that. I try not to talk to underage individuals. It's just people get it twisted.
I guess if you do realize that telling people, like, that last dude lost 100K.
And
bought IonQ before their earnings.
And I bought IonQ before the earnings?
I guess it's not financial advice, but like.
Wait, what?
You're just losing people money more than anything else.
You think so? Did I tell you to press the buy button and do what I do?
Definitely not, but you're a genius, so people are going to listen.
Okay. So if they listen, they listen, I mean, I can't control their decision making, but I'm down 20%, not 90%. So
But my guess is that that's a 30K account that you're just showing to the stream, correct?
It's not $30,000 is not my net worth. It's not material to me.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm saying that's like a fun account that you use for fun. That's
more or less, yes, more or less. It's meant to be instructive, not fun, but yeah, fine.
Thank you for your time.
Yeah, no.
I love your stuff, so.
Okay, cool. Thanks, Ada.